Hey planty people, it is Shantae with Just How I Planted. Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time. On this channel, we talk about houseplants and home decor. So if that's what you're into, go ahead and press subscribe. Comment down below that you subscribe and don't forget to like this video. Now, everybody knows that 2020 was like super crazy and people are out here, okay? They are ready to start life and I need a vacation. So I'm going on vacation, but thanks to COVID, I have accumulated like a gazillion plants, right? So I'm about to be gone for 5 days. I need to make sure my plants are taken care of while I'm gone. So in this video, I'm just going to show you what I'm doing to prepare and prep my plants while I'm on vacation. So let's get into it. So one of the tools I will be using today is the moisture meter. If you're not familiar, it's just a little nifty tool that you can find right on Amazon. I will link it in the description. That basically tells you whether or not you need to water your plants. So I will just be going through all of my plants, seeing what needs to be watered and which ones don't. I have certain self-watering devices in place, especially for plants that I either forget to water or like to remain moist. So in this alocasia, I have this terracotta spike, which you may have seen in my Amazon Planty Must-Haves video. I will link that in the description also. But basically you can just use a narrow necked bottle, fill it with water, which I have this filled with nutrient water, and it will just wick up the water through the spike. So I plan on thoroughly watering this plant beforehand, and then any remaining water that it needs, it can get from the bottle. And I will be sure to refill the bottle. You may be asking yourself, okay, well, what do you put in the bottle? Okay, so for my nutrient water, I use liquid dirt as my fertilizer, and every time I water my plants, I use liquid dirt. It's non-burning. So in order to make my mixture, I take a cap full of this per the instructions and add it into a gallon of filtered water, which I have done already. And then from that, you put 8 teaspoons into a gallon of water. And I'm always too lazy to find my teaspoons, so I usually just guess, you know, do whatever you want to do. So I usually just guess. And then from there, I just shake up my nutrient water like so. And by the way, my nutrient water is also filtered, as actually half filtered, half rainwater, because I've been collecting rainwater. It's been raining like crazy, so it's half rainwater, half filtered water, and then liquid dirt mixed together. This step is optional, but just to make it easier, I'm going to pour it into my watering can first, hopefully making less of a mess. And then from there, I will just fill my bottle. And from there, let me see if I can film this without making a huge mess. You just put it in like so. The next thing I want to do is to check my reservoirs for my leca. So if you're not familiar with leca is a soilless medium that allows the plant to self-water. It wicks the water up as it needs so that you can hopefully prevent overwatering or underwatering. And so you have your plant sitting in the leca, and then you have a nutrient water reservoir. So I also use either liquid dirt or I use MaxiGrow as my nutrients. So as you can see down there, there is plenty of water left for the plant. And with leca, I find that it usually takes about 2 weeks to go through the water in the water reservoir. So that is much easier for me since I have so many plants. And so The difference between soil and leca, I was asking my husband about this, and I was like, why is it with soil plants you have to water your plant like every week, but with leca it seems to take longer, like 2 weeks or whatever? And he was saying, well, the soil, the plant is competing with the soil. The soil is absorbing the water, and the roots are absorbing the water, whereas with leca, the leca does not absorb the water, and so the plant can just have all the water at once, and it's not evaporating as fast. And so that's what I'm about, not watering my plants all that often, and so leca is the way to go. So I'm going to check the reservoir and refill all of my leca plants that need it. Plants that I have in leca, I don't have in the same reservoir situation. Like this right here, this is glass, so you can't really see what's going on in there. So I have a couple plants like this, and I usually just have to guess. And so I guess by looking at the leaves. The leaves are wilted on this golden pothos, so I know that it is lacking some water, and I will go ahead and top it off before I go out of town. And so with leca, you're not filling the whole container, you're just filling like a third of the way, because in the container, so let me explain. In the container, this will be like your water reservoir so you'd have leca here, then your roots would sit about here, and the whole rest of the top will be filled with leca. And so you're not gonna put too much water in, just enough so that the roots can wick it up from the bottom. So that's basically how I've done that, and this plant will perk up in about a day. So checking on this Burl Marks propagation. This propagation is just taken off. I propagated it maybe a month ago, and it only had 2 leaves, and now it's just growing like crazy. And look at these roots. It might even be time to repot this plant, and it is empty and thirsty. So we're going to go ahead and water this plant as well. And I won't bore you with going through and watering every plant, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like when the reservoir is empty versus what it looks like when you don't need to put any more water in it. Okay, so next we want to make sure our humidifiers are in place. So I'm just going to fill this up like so. All right, so I have my humidifier all filled, and my humidifier sits right here between my alocasia and my fiddle leaf fig, which both like humidity. And just to try to preserve the humidity a little bit, it comes with a remote so you can control the settings, and I usually have the settings on about 50 or 55, and so once it gets to 50-55 it turns off, so I don't have to worry about it constantly running all day, which should hopefully preserve some of the water. I think it usually takes about 3 days before it runs out if I have it on a low setting. So actually let me go ahead and put it on 50, because after all the plants are watered, the humidity level will naturally rise, and so it should be good to go. And I'm just going to do the same thing for the other humidifier I have in my plant room. So along with the terracotta spikes you saw, I have a couple other watering systems in place. So some of my plants, like this coffee plant, is super thirsty all the time. So I went ahead and put it in a self-watering pot. So I'm just going to fill the reservoir because the reservoir was empty. And now it can wick up the water as much as it wants, and it should be good until I get back. This is another self-watering situation I have set up. You may have also seen this on my Amazon Planty Finds video. So I'm just going to take this glass jar and fill it up with my nutrient water like so. All right, so on Amazon I purchased these terracotta spikes. They're also, well, they're not terracotta. There's some, I don't know what they're made of, to be honest. But it works in a similar way. So what you want to do is you want to soak this for an hour before you use it, but just to demonstrate. So you soak it, and once you soak it, it fills with water. You put the cap on. For time's sake, I went ahead and filled all 3 of them up off camera. So I'm going to group a few plants together, especially plants that I know cannot go long periods of time without water. So I have here my red maranta plant, and then right above it I have my oxalis plant, and then to the left I have this Monstera deliciosa, which actually can go for a long period of time, but I will just show you what's going on. So you're going to have one stake inside of the plant, and the opposite end is going to go in the water, and it's going to just drink. I have this large Rojo Congo in the way. I'm sorry, its leaves are just enormous and it's hard. This plant is just taking up so much room. Okay, so I did that for the maranta. I'm also going to do the same thing for the oxalis, and I use these even when I'm not going out of town, only because I have so many plants that it's hard for me to just keep up with, so you have to get creative sometimes. All right, so I have this other one coming up here, and then until I find a better plant to put it in, I'll just put the other one in this Monstera. Now, of course, this Monstera deliciosa, you see how huge it is, so it could very well drink up a lot of this water. I do have a taller pitcher I could use, but we'll just use that for now. And there you go. And the last self-watering situation you might be familiar with. It's just like this little glass, I don't know what to call it, but you basically just stick it in the plant, and it is kind of kicked up with soil. So let me see if I can get that out. Now this is not my favorite, but it still does the job. Not my favorite only because of the filling process. It's not the easiest. Like if I want to fill it with nutrient water, it's a bit of a pain. It does come with the easy pour like little funnel, but I don't know if it's necessarily easier for me. If you want to fill it straight from the sink, then you can just do that. But when you want to make sure your plants are being fertilized, you have to pour from the spout where your nutrient water is being held. Okay, so I have that filled like so, and I'm just going to pop it in my Synapsis. And then you can just watch it drink because the bubbles start pouring right there. So that's pretty much how I do my self-watering situations, and then I don't have to worry about them. Okay, so let's talk about lighting. I have a couple grow lights on in my plant room, and this one in particular I have hooked up to this self timer, and so I don't have to worry about it. It's all don't mind that, you guys. Minor details, like it's usually blocked by a plant. But anyway, in all transparency, I have it set so it comes on at like 6 in the morning and it goes off at 8 at night. And although this window just stays open, I know I don't have to worry about that. I have the same situation in my living room. So I have this grow light that also comes on, and it has a similar plug situation, which is behind this plant, so you can't really see. And then this grow light I have above it in this mess of cords in this box. It's a similar, I think actually this might be, yep, okay, so I have a power strip, like a smart power strip, so I can control it from my phone. So I have it set to automatically come on
I'm not sure what time in the morning it comes on, but it goes off at like 8:30 at night.
That is pretty much it. So I hope you learned something, or maybe you can drop something in the comments. I will be going out on vacation again in July. So if you guys have any additional tips of what you do to prepare your house plants when you go out of town or go on vacation, drop them in the comments. Let me know. Once again, I am Shantae from Just How I Planted. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, happy planting.